Well, happening now, the number of COVID-19 cases increased over this holiday weekend. We'll have more coming up. Plus, New York State will be providing death benefits to families of frontline workers whose deaths were a result of COVID-19.
And a few clouds and sunshine are basically across the area early this afternoon, but another day of muggy conditions. We'll talk about it next. The News at Noon starts now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. We want to start with some breaking news from the town of Chautauqua. Here's a look at the scene there, where it looks like there has been a motor vehicle accident with serious injuries reported. We don't know a ton of information except that this late model Toyota, it looks like, was involved in that crash. County dispatch tells us that helicopters have been summoned to the scene there. The Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office on scene working on an investigation along with local volunteer fire departments. We'll, of course, continue to provide updates and bring them to you when we learn more at WNYNewsNow.com. Well, the number of COVID-19 cases increased over this past holiday weekend. Here's an updated look at the area's COVID-19 tracking map. In Chautauqua County, 2 cases were reported Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and 1 on Memorial Day Monday. There are now a total of 75 cases total, with 28 active, including 4 hospitalized cases, that up from 1 Sunday. The number of recovered cases has also increased, now up to 43. Meanwhile, the third COVID-19 related death was reported in Cattaraugus County on Sunday. The health department there says a 91-year-old woman developed sudden respiratory failure and was unable to overcome her illness despite aggressive medical treatment. Now, additionally, 2 COVID-19 cases were reported in Cattaraugus County over the weekend, bringing their total to 66, with 19 active and 41 recovered. Well, New York State will be providing death benefits to families of frontline workers whose deaths were a result of COVID-19. Governor Andrew Cuomo announced that news yesterday, saying he personally felt a grave responsibility to do so, although it's unclear where in the budget the money will come from. New York is expecting a $61 billion shortfall over the next 4 years.
Today, we're saying we honor that service, and we're going to make sure that every government in the state of New York provides death benefits to those public heroes who died from COVID-19 during this emergency. I also believe the federal government should be doing the same, honoring the frontline workers, showing Americans that we appreciate what you did, that you showed up when it was hard, that you worked when it was hard, you appeared for duty when it was troubling to do so, and I'm sure many people were afraid to show up, but they showed up anyway.
The governor has also renewed his call for the federal government to provide hazard pay for essential public workers on the front lines. Well, you may have been social distancing and staying home for months now and feel like you're ready to venture out. But how do we know it's safe and responsibly? Melissa Rainey with some tips.
By now, all 50 states have reopened to some degree. And while experts are warning moving too fast could accelerate the COVID-19 pandemic, many are wondering if it's even safe to visit businesses. Remember to wear a mask. Frequently wash or sanitize your hands and any surface you touch, and stay 6 feet apart from others. Here are a few other tips. 1. Don't go out like a normal day going from place to place. Limit your outings to one business. 2. If you want to dine in at a restaurant, try and eat outside. The virus circulates more in enclosed spaces. Make sure you're 6 feet from other tables and wash your hands before and after eating. 3. When headed to a beach or park, read up on the current guidelines and restrictions. Some places will only let you be there if you keep moving, and if it's crowded, find someplace else. 4. Feel like you need to get a good sweat on at the gym? First, make sure you are far away from others. Wipe down every machine or piece of equipment before and after you use it. 5. Want to get a haircut or a pedicure? While it's impossible to social distance with employees at places like this, there are some things you can do. Read their safety protocols to ensure they are taking every step to eliminate risks. I'm Melissa Rainey.
Now, currently, Western New York is in phase 1 of reopening per state guidelines. Non-essential construction, agriculture, forestry, fishing, and hunting, along with retail that's limited to curbside or in-store pickup and drop-off, manufacturing and wholesale trade are available to reopen. Phase 2, which could get underway as early as next week, would allow non-essential professional services, retail, administrative support, real estate, rental, and leasing services to begin to open up. Phase 3 would include restaurants and food services, while Phase 4 would offer arts, entertainment, recreation, and in-person education. So far, no region statewide has met criteria to move past Phase 1 of reopening. Well, the Chautauqua County Chamber of Commerce says they'll be hosting a panel discussion on restarting our economy this afternoon at 3:30. Officials say topics will include the state certification process for businesses, developing a reopening plan, training, resources, technical help, and more. Mark Geis will be one of the panelists who will be part of that discussion. Geis is the Deputy County Executive for Economic Development. Officials add that the weekly event will be on a new platform to provide a better experience for everyone involved. That platform is now called GoToWebinar. Information on how you can join is posted right now at WNYNewsNow.com. Officials say the event is free and open for all business people in the community. Well, gas prices are ticking up, but not enough to cause too much pain at the pump. AAA says the national average for a gallon of regular gas is $1.96. That's about 9 cents more than a week ago. The average price for a gallon of petrol is $2.25 here in Jamestown. However, some mobile stations in the area are 6 cents lower, that according to GasBuddy.com. In Dunkirk, meanwhile, the average is also $2.25 a gallon. The price at the pump in Warren, Pennsylvania is $2.35 a gallon. However, the association says that gas hasn't been this cheap on Memorial Day weekend in almost 20 years. They expect that uptick to continue because the demand is likely to grow as the economy reopens. Well, we thank everyone for joining us here on WNY News Now as we continue to put facts over fear in our coverage of COVID-19, and we appreciate you tuning in for your source of information. Got to say hello to Lakeith, Chloe, good afternoon to you. Autumn, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to Bert, good afternoon to Cassidy and Crystal. Thank you all so much for joining us. I wanted to touch on this before we turn to our weather forecast. Here's a look at the scene on Route 394 near the Chautauqua Institution. We know now that 2 people have been flown to a regional hospital following a crash here, and we're still working to learn specifically what caused the crash. Law enforcement now looking into that. Parts of Route 394 are back open to a 1 lane of traffic, so if you're traveling that way from Mayville to Jamestown or from Jamestown to Mayville, you could run into some traffic congestion right there in front of the institution. We, of course, will keep you updated on WNYNewsNow.com. Well, let's now get a check of our First Defense weather forecast with Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. And Dakota, this weekend was absolutely beautiful. Looks like today is turning out to be about the same.
It is. Now, yesterday it was great unless you got caught under one of those slow-moving showers yesterday. And again, we talked about that yesterday, these pop-up storms. This is likely going to be the case again today, but no clouds in the sky in downtown Warren from the City Bank. 82, but look at this dew point. 63, that is going to be a factor still today and basically throughout tomorrow as well. It's still going to be humid, so you're still going to feel that stickum in the air through the day today. And again, the satellite composite basically shows you not a whole lot in the way of cloud cover, but we are expecting a few scattered showers to pop up once again, basically later this afternoon. 81 here in Jamestown, 83 in Dunkirk, 88 already over in Erie, 79 in Olean. But when you factor in the dew point, again, dew point measures towards the moisture content in the atmosphere. Anything over 60, that's when you start to feel the humidity. So 61 is the current dew point in Jamestown, 65 in Dunkirk, 64 in Erie, and 59 over in Cat County right now. So the dew point is going to be up today. And again, you're going to be feeling it as you walk out the door today. We made it to 84 yesterday, 63 was the low this morning, 88 and 33 are the record high and lows for this day. So through the afternoon, partly to mostly sunny on average, there's that chance for that scattered afternoon shower and thunderstorm. You know how these work. They pop up and fall apart at random times through the afternoon. Very warm and humid, 80 at the waterfront to 87 inland with a south wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. A little bit more of this humidity is on the way, then a big cool down by the weekend. We'll talk about it. Jay?
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. Coming up next, Chautauqua County Executive PJ Wendell joins us live to talk more about the county's reopening and the fight against COVID-19. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
When you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading the WNY News Now mobile app. Stay up to date on local news, weather, and sports that matter to you. Plus, subscribe to breaking news and weather alerts from the team that puts coverage first. In addition, watch news as it happens with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network. Download the WNY News Now app right now. It's free on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. It has been 1 week since Phase 1 of reopening started here in Western New York. Joining us on the broadcast to talk more about how that process is going is Chautauqua County Executive PJ Wendell. Executive Wendell, it's great to have you here, sir. Thank you.
Well, thanks for having me, Justin.
Coming off of a Memorial Day weekend, how do you think that the county has done so far in the effort to practice containment measures like social distancing?
Well, some might look at the numbers and the uptick and saying we're not doing a good job. But if we look at the number of people that are out and moving about, I know there were several different events throughout Chautauqua County yesterday. And as I drove out throughout the county, I did see a lot more people moving, a lot more people active. And I feel the social distancing is working. I know it's getting a lot of people are really kind of getting frustrated, but we're still showing positive effort. I know in our control room meeting, Lieutenant Governor was very confident the numbers remain consistent and very optimistic that we'll be moving into Phase 2 next week.
Now, last week, and as you mentioned over the weekend, we did see a jump in numbers. During the weekly update Friday, it was announced 10 new cases. And what is the significance of that increase? Do you know specifically why that is happening?
Well, I could say that in that just particular 9 of those new cases on that day were linked to one of our previous positives. So that in and of itself created, the rise in the spike in cases. There was, again, we know that the 9 new cases were linked to one positive case already. So, again, it shows that if we're, still moving around, and if somebody is positive and, you engage with them, the chance of coming down, or contracting COVID-19 is significant. So again, we remind people that those people that are in quarantine or isolation orders or have received that information, following those orders from the public health director are very significant, and we need to follow that so we do not have any, bigger cases or upticks in the case load and positive tests.
Now, a lot of people tell us that it seems like there's a fine line that we have to walk between staying safe and returning to business and getting people back to work. For you, what advice do you give community members and business owners to try to help find that balance?
We need everybody to realize, 2 months, it seems like an eternity, but it's really a short window of time. And we don't want to get into a point where we become complacent or overzealous and think we don't have to focus or worry about this anymore. And all of a sudden now we're at a phase longer than we need to, or, I don't think they talk about a backslide. We haven't seen that yet, but those are just all those things we're fearful of. And remembering that, and this is the position I put out, the challenge to our residents is, if we see that uptick, it could now start to jeopardize our businesses. And that's the point that you're asking. How do you walk that fine line? We still need to continue to do what we're doing because we don't want to jeopardize those businesses. We don't want to jeopardize that economy. It's a very fine line. And, there isn't any one right or wrong answer. There's no silver bullet. We're just doing, the best we can throughout all of this and urging people that our numbers are low. We've shown that they're low because of optimistic that by the end of the month, we could be in it to phase 4 if we look at a 2-week cycle for each phase. But again, it depends on how well we do with social distancing and following the directives.
Yeah, and that's the conversation that everybody is trying to find out, not just here, but I'd imagine across the nation too. If all does go right, we should be to phase 2 maybe next week. Have you had discussions on that and what that process would look like to move from 1 to 2?
Well, certainly. We've started talking now with the control group, and the same information and the same message I have sent before. When we look at, 4 weeks ago, I asked businesses to look at a plan to reopen. More urgent now for those that are on phase 2 to go on to the forward.ny.gov and get that information, fill out that template, get that electronic affirmation. So when that word comes that you can open, you have documents in hand and you're ready to go. It's really important that we're prepared as we move forward. The other piece that we did talk about in our control room is if you do not find your business on a phase, whether it's phase 2, 3, or 4, then you need to be ready because you may come into a phase earlier. For example, I know a lot of fitness and gym owners have reached out to me and said, well, we don't find gyms and fitness anywhere. And we understand that. And I know the industry has been pressuring and getting their information, to the governor's office. And, I'm going to extend that again today in our control room is that our gyms and fitness centers can easily, I believe very confidently, socially distance one another. I know there's a gym in Orchard Park where, thousands of square feet and is able to have 6 people in there, not even within 20 feet of another. So I know some of our fitness centers around here have ample amount of space to socially distance. And it's up to us once we're in those phases, or if you're able to go to a gym, to remember our social distancing. You can wear a mask when you're moving from equipment to equipment or, whatever the case may be. But I think it's imperative that those businesses are ready to open should they get the call, I guess you would say. Yeah. But everybody needs to be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. And COVID-19 really has changed so much, I think, from the beginning and made people a lot more self-aware of things like that and, self-cleaning and, who they're coming in contact with. But at the county level and specifically with government, what kind of effects have we seen over the last 2 months in regards to COVID-19?
Well, in regards to, obviously, some of our government functions are essential, so they've been back to full staff or really have not gotten too far into the 50% rule. Others have been diminished, and, government services have been continuing. Obviously, the mode of delivery sometimes has changed, a lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of conference calling, et cetera. But, the county government hasn't stopped. We've continued, and we are now looking at when that reopening is going to occur with county government or non-essential business or business the county does, and looking at our employees and what will be required of them, how many can continue to work remotely while still being have really the high standard of job production that we've had here at the county. So it'll be interesting. We're evaluating this every day and getting ready, but our county workforce has been exemplary throughout all of this and definitely have gone the extra mile. So to my employees, they've done a fabulous job and keep up the great work. But it's going to be, as we come out of this, there will be different, whether it's the delivery or, the means of providing service, things will be changing. And that's something we're looking for, as we move forward.
Now, I know that many government levels, whether it be federal, state, or here local, are concerned about financial shortfalls because people weren't out shopping, they weren't getting that revenue. How, I know we've talked about it at some of the COVID-19 press conferences, but have you guys gotten a pulse as to where we could end up and what that impact might look like?
Well, I think, our financial team meets twice a week. That was convened about 4 weeks ago now with our finance and budget directors, respectively. And we do have members of Audit and Control, Pierre Chagnon, our chairman, Chuck Nazaro, and Jay Gould. So we do have a network of our financial people that are working on this and looking. We discussed it this morning with our team. It's very difficult to project what that sales tax revenue is going to look like. Obviously, we knew it would be down, and it's going to continue to be down for the month of April. I know it was down 25.9% in March. What the April numbers are going to look like, we're still looking at those. So it's hard to gauge and it's hard to project where we're going to be, but we are taking measures to reduce our costs. We looked at a $4.1 million reduction in local share that took place. That'll be brought to the table Wednesday night at the legislature meeting, and it already passed in committees. But it's really important to look at the efforts that we've taken so far, to reduce our cost. And moving forward, we're going to continue to look at those. But it's just so hard to project right now that there's no definitive numbers coming out of Albany, and we're all just, trying to do the best we can. But obviously, we know it's going to be considerably less than budget.
Is there any way to try to recoup that revenue? I know you have spoke multiple times that this declaration of emergency is out there for communities to maybe get some federal funding. There's a lot of moving parts right now in that sector. Have you considered any outside sources to maybe help the county?
Well, we're looking at everything. There's several grant sources that are available through the counties. I know we've applied for several of those grants already. Some things that surprisingly were not covered in our COVID reimbursement with FEMA. So I know there's some infrastructure pieces we're looking at with information technology and different. So there's a lot of grant opportunities coming about, and we are going to explore any and every grant opportunity for the county. And we're still, tabulating our costs. We're still maintaining, a very tight rein on our purchasing, only for essential items right now. And our PPEs were a purchase early on, but now, that stockpile, if you will, or that reserve has been maintained, and the state government sends us, PPE and different types of materials. So we're keeping that here, making sure it's available for all of our businesses and our residents. But again, we were doing a good job so far, but we're going to continue to watch that. And as those grants and outside funding sources become available, we are definitely going to be exploring those. Also, the Congressman Reed and this next bill coming out of Washington is really, we're having them focus on relief to the counties, towns, and villages, more specifically money going directly to us and not to the state, because some things take a little bit more time being dispersed, from the state government. So we're asking for help on the local, and this is a nationwide concern, and more so in New York because we've been hardest hit. But all the other counties throughout the country are asking the same thing, and the focus now is on that local help and getting that money directly to the localities. So we're optimistic.
Absolutely. Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendell joining us today. We thank you for your time. Finally, I want to give you another chance to explain your message to residents as we continue to head into summer now and hopefully continue to push forward with the phases of reopening.
Well, I'm just asking everybody to remain vigilant in everything we're doing. I know in a hot day, it's very cumbersome to wear a mask. I know we had ours on yesterday at the events we attended, but it's for our safety and the safety of others. And we need to continue this fight. We need to continue moving forward. We don't want to have any setbacks. My goal is to move as safely and responsibly as we can. And that's really important. And responsibility is a word that's really been emerging the last couple of days. The responsibility of our residents, the responsibility of business owners to comply with the mandates that are coming out and also comply with the safety guidelines that are put out there, and making sure that we're safe and we don't have those, high clusters or spikes in cases here in the county. We need to continue what we're doing. The numbers are low, and I'd really encourage them. We need to keep up this fight and keep those numbers low. It's hard, but it's easy for us to ask for situations and have compelling arguments when our numbers are low. If our numbers start to spike, then we're going to be concerned. I think the key number, though, I would really want people to focus on are the number of active cases. When we look at 70 plus, that's an aggregate number, but there are 28 active cases right now in Chautauqua County with a population of 128,000. That's a very, very small percentage, but the percentage is still there. So we need to be vigilant. We need to, be watchful. But again, realizing that 28 out of 128,000 individuals is a very, very small number. So we need to be vigilant, keep up the good work, and we do not want to have any setbacks because our economic future is really dependent on moving into the next phases.
Yeah. All right. Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendell joining us today. Sir, we appreciate you being here, and thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Justin. Keep up the...
Now let's get a check of our weather forecast with Dakota.
Well, hey, after the rain end yesterday, did you see the rainbow that occurred in some areas? This is our own Sean Sweatman, who pilots the Storm Interceptor. He was out yesterday. A great shot of the rainbow. We had many of these that came in. How about this one from Melissa? The nice tractor there in the field and the rainbow. My tractor is sexy, in the words of in the words of Kenny Chesney. Here's one from our own Justin Gould. I like this. Now, this is not a tornado. This is not rotating. This is just a low-lying scud cloud that's lowering there. There was likely some rain falling underneath that. And then the clouds parted yesterday evening. How about a shot of the moon? I took this from the Hunter Palatial Estate, and that was a nice-looking thing to see the moon out after the rain ended, and it was still very muggy and warm yesterday. And we're going to stay very muggy and warm basically through Wednesday. So, yeah, just kind of get used to the warmth here. So, it's the thunderstorm lottery. As we talked about yesterday on the web and whatnot, we talked about this. These scattered afternoon showers and storms, they pop up at random times. We cannot tell you when or where it is going to rain. Just make sure that you check the radar often. And of course, if lightning occurs within 6 to 8 miles of your location, head indoors. And again, not everybody is going to get wet today. That's the key. Just like yesterday, not everybody is going to see a storm, but where you could, it could be slow moving and actually have some heavy downpours within it. We stay warm and muggy tomorrow, but looking down the road, a big cooler air mass comes in by the weekend. So the heat and humidity will be gone and temperatures fall below average. Once again, we're at 81 right now at the Jamestown airport as of noon hour. A variable wind of 7. Look at this dew point at 61 degrees. That makes it feel more like 82. And again, we talked about that, how when the dew points are up in the 60s, you're going to be feeling that humidity. The muggy meter is back. And where is the muggy meter going? Well, it's going between 60 and 65 today. Those are the dew point temperatures. So it's going to be a very muggy and humid day out there, just like it was yesterday. You're going to feel the humidity in the air. Again, you know how to stay cool, stay inside during the hottest part of the day. Air conditioners, you all know that. You don't need me to tell you that. High pressure is built in down to our south, so that's the reason why there's not a whole lot of cloud cover. But even though we have high pressure, the actual atmosphere is very wet, so that is going to allow a few showers to pop up. Future Scan really is not being overly excited about it. It's trying to paint more of that activity farther to our north. I do think there'll be a few scattered and pop-up showers and storms across the southern tier. So again, I do think they'll be a little bit farther south than that. Tonight, mainly clear, but it'll still be a warm and muggy night with a southerly wind helping to keep our temperatures up. Dry for the day tomorrow, but watch what comes our way Wednesday night going into Thursday, our next storm system. So that'll be our better chance for more widespread, scattered, and occasional rain as we head into Thursday and Friday. So zone forecast, the Lake Erie shoreline. Look at Erie. you may get close to 90 degrees. Wow. Look at that. Temperatures lower 80s, cooler right at the immediate Lake Erie waterfront. Now off to the east here, a little bit cooler here, but again, Warren 88, Jamestown 84, at Randolph at 85. Very warm and humid with a few scattered thunderstorms through the afternoon. Next 7 days on the screen right now, 83 tomorrow, 79 on Thursday. The temperature comes down, but it's still going to remain muggy. Friday, 78, a couple rumbles of thunder possible on Friday. Now Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, big Arctic high pressure comes in, so that drops our temperatures down into the 60s, and that means lower humidity. So we've got a lot of sunshine coming over the weekend and early next week, but with cooler temperatures. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. Wanted to take the final few seconds here to address some of the comments. We thank you all for joining us today. It is asked, what phase are bars under? Well, restaurants and food services are under phase 3. So according to state guidelines, bars would likely fall into that. We actually have a full breakdown with a link to the state's website posted at WNYNewsNow.com right now and on our mobile app in regards to reopening in our area. That's going to do it for us today. We thank you for joining us. News continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com and on our mobile app. Here's a live look over Chautauqua Lake. Absolutely beautiful out there today. Hopefully you can enjoy it.